Okay, so can you hear me now? Is he okay now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so let me wait.
Please, I think someone asked question in the
Yes,
other
yes. I
thing.
would answer.
Okay,
I'll
so
answer it. I'll answer it. I saw it before we. So I'm waiting for others to join. I don't know if they have the.
Probably you can reshare the link in the former meeting.
No, there's no how I'm going to share it because I've been logged out
maybe on WhatsApp.
on WhatsApp. Okay, let me see. Let me. Let me. Let's see. Okay, so I think I've dropped it. Please confirm you can see it on the chat. I don't know. Can you see it on the chat?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's there.
okay.
Yeah. It's happening
All
now.
right.
Like,
So let me continue sharing. Okay. Okay. So okay. So I've explained this, right? Can I go ahead, please?
yes, you can.
All right. So you could even see the way this guy and this girl they are even doing. You see that there is a kind of API interface between them, communication between them, but it's fine. That's not why we are here. All right. So backend development concepts, right? We have some concepts that I'll be explaining. We have the servers. So what server does really is they're like our computer, right? They're like our computer and they act as our resource. So how this works really is I have I have my I've written my nice code, my business logic. We already explained that we all the process of writing of making the spaghetti. So I already have that. But I have them on my computer and users can use it. So what I would do is to host it on the cloud or to have a server. So what the server does really is that it is a resource. It helps me in managing my file, right? It allows for availability such that when client eats the host, right? When they eat the host is in sense of your address, that address. So when it eats the server, it makes it readily available. Do you understand? So and it's also it's just like a computer. Let's just call it a computer that helps to maintain availability, manage your file and the likes. I don't know if you get that, if I can continue. Please, can I continue?
Yes, we can.
All right. So
Yes.
we've talked about the APIs like several times. It's the middleware. It is like the just like Jesus Christ is without Jesus Christ, you cannot access the Father. So it's just the same way. The API is the API call. If without the API, you cannot come into my application. Then I have the database. I've talked about database. So stores and retrieves information. Now, someone asked about framework. Please, can you ask the question again before we move ahead? Please, can you ask the question again before we move ahead? I didn't quite remember. I think she said she was talking about framework something. I didn't get that clearly, please. Okay. Okay, what's framework used for? So framework is now let me use this. Let me okay. Framework. So I have like a nice bed, like when you lay your bed. You have your bed is your foam. You have foam, right? So you have a cover on the foam. So look at your foam as your programming language. Then the nice cover and what I need. Okay, so the nice cover and the bed cover to make my foam look nice so that it can so that I can access something to build my web application or the likes. Those are framework. They are built on, they are like a coated I don't know, is to quote my programming language. Do you understand? So that I can have access to more and more resource and to be able to expose my application so that people can use it. Let's use it. Um let's but before you can understand frameworks, right? Before I can understand what framework, before I can understand framework in its entirety, I need to um I need to I need to understand. Okay, I need to understand what programming language is. The programming language for the framework is. I need to understand what I need to do there, how I can do this, how I can do that. I don't know if I've answered your question. I don't know if I've answered your question. But if you still have doubts, right? If you need um more clarity, we can explain it when we are done with the class. So the next thing is okay, the tools that I use for my backend development. So I need my terminal, the text editor, the database management tool. So let me just explain this to is someone saying something? All right, so I'll take that for a no. So for my tools, I have like my ID. My ID is like the environment, the development environment that I need to run my code, because all of these things are written in code.
Excuse me.
Yes.
The slide front end versus back end.
Eh?
This is still on front end versus back end.
Yeah. Are you sure? Let me stop sharing and start sharing again. Okay. Let me start sharing again. You seem so far away. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, all right. So, the backend development tools, we have the terminal, like your command line. So, let me see if I can show you my command line. Let me share, let me share all my screen. Okay, I'll just do that after everything. So we have the command line. You can run your code from, as crazy as it is, you can actually start your program from command line. your CMD. I'm going to show you how it is. Then the text editor, like your IDE. We have different IDE. We have IntelliJ IDE. We have VS Code. We have WebStorm. It depends on the one that you want to use, right? We have, I think, Eclipse. Yes, Eclipse. We have Eclipse. It depends on what you want to use. For me, I use VS Code and IntelliJ, depending on what I want to do. If I want to write, let's say, JavaScript, like React or something, or sometimes Python, I can use my VS Code. If I want to write, so I write mostly Java. If I want to write Java, I can use my IntelliJ. I can use PyCharm for Python, right? It depends on what I want to do. So that's it. Then my database management tools, I can use Postgres. I can use MySQL. I can use MS SQL. You have all the tools. You can just download it, right? You can download it from their website, and you have them on your system. So that is it. Then I'm not here to talk about some other things. Okay, so the careers in backend, yeah, it can be a full stack. Full stack is um just as you be the one to cook, you be the one to you be the one to take the plate to your dining, you be the one to serve yourself, and then you eat your food. That's full stack. So full stack we comprises backend, front end development. So I know Java, I know JavaScript. I can write my backend and then consume my API with my front end language. Since we've talked, I don't we've talked about like programming languages. So I can either be a backend developer, software engineer. What's the difference? It's actually the same though. I can be a database administrator. So backend development is diverse, right? If you have um a knowledge of something of these, you can use it for, you can apply it in different field, really. Then the power of backend development, right? Okay, so what that means is, what can I use backend development to do? I can use it to create web application. So like me going to Google to search for something, I can create my web application. You can go to people's page. All those things are web application. I can also have mobile application. Just as you have like your Slack, your WhatsApp, your all these mobile application. I also have games, right? And I also have APIs and services. API keep coming in. I think we all understand what APIs means, right? You can have APIs and services. So what the backend developer responsibility. So basically what we do as a backend developer, what is expected of a backend developer is you write the business logic, you secure the data, you like, let's say in a normal a fintech application, you process the payment process configuration. You're also the one to you are also part of the people to sit down and do the system architecture. So why I said you are part of the people to do that is because in some organization it is the backend developer that just design the architecture of how it's going to be. But then in the normal way it ought to be is, if you want to build your system, the system architecture of your application of your application, you need the database administrator, you need the backend administrator, you need the system architect to look at the design. Okay, how is this going to impact this? How is this going to impact that? Because backend development is actually a whole lot. It's a bigger picture than just writing of code. So we have to look at, okay, how the latency, how it's going to react when people are calling this application. Okay, when people are calling the application, how it's going to affect the database. That's why I said it's backend develop a backend developer is part of the process of system architectural design. We also have the web and mobile app development. We have the data scientists. So data science analysis. So because most of for backend development, you are producing or reproducing data. So that's why they are also involved in data science analysis. So to get started, choose a language, learn the fundamentals of that language, build the project, contribute to open source if you want, like contribute meaningful, just build projects, and then try and, if you have this project, oh, can I join in the projects and the likes? But choose your language, learn the fundamentals, learn what it is, what that language entails, then build projects using your frameworks, and then that's it. Okay. Okay. Is there any question for me? So now let's talk
Yes,
about, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Being a back-end developer,
Mm.
does it mean that someone must have a background in front end?
No, 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 not at all, at all, at all. I didn't start, for me, I will use myself as an example. I didn't start as a front-end developer. I don't like front-end, anything front-end. I don't like it. So I don't really know front-end like that. Do you get? So it's not a
Okay.
must that as a front-end developer. Any other
All
question?
right.
Any other question? We have 8 more minutes.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Esther. Right.
Yes,
For
please.
Thank you for the lecture. Just I just want a clarity, or just to ask this, that during the course of this training,
Yes, please.
are we going to have some training or some lectures on the system architecture or software architecture, just like you mentioned, that in some organizations there are separations of responsibilities. But as a new, upcoming, uh, how do we navigate that in case maybe we were asked that, okay, do you have idea of this and that? Is this something that we're going to consider in the course of this training?
All right. So, Chidima, please hold on. So thank you for that question, right? As a beginner, what I would advise is start with the picking a niche. Like, this is what I want to do. Pick a language, learn it well. The system architecture will come later. Sure, you understand. The system, it is when you know how to cook spaghetti that you want to try a lot of things. You want to say, okay, when I do it this way, this way, this way, it come out like this. When I do it that way, that way, that, then you start looking at the architectural design of different organization. Okay, this is how it is. Okay, this is how, when I want to do this, this is, but if for a beginner, please just pick a programming language, learn it well, learn the framework, learn the do's and the don'ts, expand your knowledge in terms of writing solid quality and neat code, and then pick your framework, understand the concepts, making research, and also understand the use of databases. Then with that, you start. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And just little drops makes an ocean. So that is it. That's my own advice. That's it. And as a junior developer, junior backend developer, right? Nobody will tell you to come and start the to come and design the system architecture of a company. No, no one will tell you that. They'll just tell you to fix bugs, and if you have like, that's just it. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, very well.
All right, thank you. Chidima, please go ahead.
Okay, my question is considering the time frame for this training
Yes, please.
and what is achievable, please what stack are we going to, or are we going to be taught um in this program, so it can help us to also like maybe start looking forward to what we are learning. Thank
All right.
you.
So, for the stack of the program, this is actually an is just for backend development. The stack will be communicated to us as time goes on. But it will always be before the class. But it depends on the person that wants to teach us by that time. She gets. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that will be communicated to us. We should just focus on understanding what backend development is about. Someone might come now be like, for me, if it is me, I might say, okay, we'll use Python or we use Java, right? Another person might come and say, let's just use Rust or we use this. So let's just take it a step at a time. And I believe that um that will be communicated to us really. Abby Esther, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Please, earlier when you spoke about the responsibilities of a backend developer, you also stated data science analyst.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I wanted to know, is it paramount that we have knowledge of data analysis, data science
No,
analysis first?
a, a
Okay.
backend developer, you don't need to have knowledge of data science. I was just explaining that we use
Okay.
data, so the data can be consumed. That's just what I explained. You obviously don't need to be a data scientist. Just come as you are, and then we are ready to teach, like to help you grow, really.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What are the essential tools? Ah, what are the essential tools as guide for backend development? Okay. So the tools I gave it to like coming. Okay. So the essential tools, you have your ID. First, have your IDE, right? You can use it, like I said, you can use the IntelliJ or the VS Code. Then there is a process of if you want to download, like if you want to use, let's say, Java or Python, there's a way you have to download it so that you can have access to it in your you can have access to it in your local computer. Then you need your data source, right, which is your database. So you can either download Postgres, MySQL, MS SQL, depending on the one you want to use, right? And thank God, Docker is there for you. Okay, I think I'm going a bit far, but Docker is there on a high level. Docker is there for you. You don't need to really download it on your system. You can just use the Docker access, right? But for beginner like us, we can have IntelliJ or VS Code. You can download that. We need to like download like our Java or our Python so that it can be accessible in when we are trying to use it. Then we have to download our data source, like MySQL. Then we also need to download the an interface, like an application where we can test our application. Yes, and it's an application where you need to test your application that is working. So it could be you can use I think IntelliJ comes with that. For most times people use Swagger or they use Postman, depending. I hope I'm answering your question. So these are like the tools that can be used. I hope I've answered your question. Please let me know. Which language do you prefer, Python or Java? It depends, oh. It really depends on what I want to do, right? It depends on what I really want to do. So I don't have a preference. I can work with Java. I can work with Python. I can work with any language. If you just give me, okay, this is the language you want to work on. So I can work, I will learn it, but I would say that I am more proficient in Java. Yeah. You can use Swagger, yes. Locally on browser, yes. Yes. Emmanuel, I've answered your question, right? Is
Yes,
there
good
any?
afternoon, Esther.
Yes, please. Good afternoon,
I have a,
Emmanuel. Yeah, sorry, is
yeah,
it
when
Emmanuel?
you,
Sorry, what's your
no,
name?
it's some protocol.
Oh, something. All right.
Yeah, so when you are explaining the diagram,
Which ones? Which
the
of the
one where
diagram?
we have the HTTP request and the backend,
Okay.
yeah, please can you explain how the database and the API integration interact with the backend service?
All right.
And I also want to know
Okay.
the API integration, it
Okay.
interacts with the database or whether it just accesses it through the backend service.
All right. So this is like a high level of what we're doing in at the back. So you come to my server, right? In my backend service, that's why they said in the backend service, for you to come to my server, you use the API, the integrations, right? The API, the like you're coming as a client, you are using the API integration. Do you get? And in my backend, so I am exposing. This is what I use outside, and this is the database is what I use inside. What do I mean by this? I have my service. So for my service, what my clients need to interface with when they come to my service, right? They are not supposed to, they are not going to communicate directly with my service. They are going to communicate to my with my service through the API integration, through the API that I have already exposed to them. Do you get? So now in my service, whatever they pass in, whatever maybe to create, to do whatever, to do a lot of manipulation, like data definition, data definition or data manipulation. So I am going to interface with the database because that is where I am storing the data for my service. So if you are coming as a client, your data is being stored from my service to in the database. Do you get? I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
All right. All right. So someone else is asking okay. Please, is this class? Yes, it is recorded. Is there any documentation for databases? Like, of course, if you go to the SQL site, the link, there is a documentation, developers documentation that you can use to integrate for SQL, MySQL, any database that you want to use. There is always a documentation for anything that you want to do in programming. There's a documentation. I don't know if there's any other question, so I can show you the command line, what we do. I'm running out of time again. Oh, okay, thank you. So let me stop sharing. All right. So now I am going to be showing you some of the tools I have, so that okay, let me share my entire screen. Momo. Okay. I'm coming now. Can you see my screen still? What can you see? Hi, can you see my screen, please?
Yeah, we can see.
What can you see? Can you see my
Your,
bar?
your
My
your
taskbar?
document.
Yeah.
You can see my document. All right. So now, I want to show you some of the two. This is IntelliJ. Right. I think I've deleted my PyCharm and my VS.
Sorry, the documents are no longer showing. Now.
Yeah.
It's no longer showing.
What can you see?
Backend development. Your present.
I know. Can you see? Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you see my
Yes.
IntelliJ?
Yeah. Down. Yes.
Yes, you can. Okay. That's very good. All right. So I want to show. Let's start with command line. So if you want, each laptop has its own command line. So when I can just click on CMD. Did you see what I did? CMD. So I can just, all right. So this is my command line. I can navigate to whatever thing that I'm doing. Um, well, so this is like the IntelliJ. Before I go to that, let me show you the IntelliJ. It's still coming up though. So this is my command line. This is the command line. So I can run whatever thing I want to do from here. I can start my application. I'll just navigate to the application and start it from here. But I'm just trying to explain. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma.
All right. So
Yeah.
this
Can.
is like the command line for you to access. You can also use it to access your application. This is my this is like my application. This is at IntelliJ, right? I am writing like a Java application here, right? Like a demo application, just a test, right? So this is the interface for IntelliJ. Then I also have VS Code here. This is VS Code. This where my icon is VS Code. I can also log on to like my Postgres. This is for my database. Just the one I showed. This is for my database, right? This is Docker. This is Postgres. This is the Postman I talked about. This, can you see my where what I'm trying to like? It's like
Yes, that orange one.
yes, this orange one is the Postman. So let me try and open it. So I'm currently opening PG admin, which is like the GUI for Postgres. Can you see management tools for Postgres? I've deleted the SQL. I have my SQL. I've deleted it, right? So you can always install it, anyone that you want to learn. So this is the Postman that is currently running, right? Right. So this is the Postman. Like this is my request where I try to connect with an API. I connect to, so this is like an API call for my application. So all of them are connected, right? I'm trying to call this HTTP localhost because it is presently on my computer. Nobody can access this. This is my local computer. I'm trying to test an application, right? So I will use Postman to test whatever endpoint, whatever API I have exposed for people to use. I'm testing it here, right? So, and this is like my IntelliJ that has a lot of feature. You can check it out. Then taking longer than usual. I think that is all really. That is all. All right. So I think I am done. Any other question before we call it a day, call it a wrap? I'll say I enjoyed every moment with you guys. I enjoyed talking to you, like helping you along the way to see how backend development is really the process of backend development. So, any question before we call it a wrap?
Yes, ma.
All right, please go ahead. We have a few minutes.
Okay. Please, what is Tomcat?
Tomcat is like a oh, you saw it when I was displaying something, right?
No, but I did not see it. But I have
It's
of it
so,
too, but I just wanted to confirm.
all right.
Really, yeah.
Okay, so it's like, let me use like, you can call it a server or a browser or an application that really helps you that I'm trying to put it in a way that everyone can understand, right? So
Okay, I
it's
wanted to
like,
know where it just falls under.
okay,
An API, is it a
is your server.
where does it fall under? Which kind of tool is it? Oh,
Is
okay.
is your server for Spring Boot application.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Thank you.
So in the absence of no question, I think I'll call it a wrap here, and then the recording can be shared to the class. Okay, Laravel. Laravel is a PHP framework. Laravel is a PHP. NetBean is also okay. NetBean, it depends on what you want to do, but people really use IntelliJ right now. So it depends on what you want to do. I think it's nice meeting every one of us. Have a nice weekend. From me to you, and happy Valentine in advance. I'm so happy. All right. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Bye, guys.